people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Okay, we'll start with this, an update on what's supposed to be the offer to Michaela Mayer to travel to the United Kingdom to unify titles with Lauren Price. In Michaela Mayer's own words, you're gonna have to come up with a better offer than that.
Yeah, see, that's what I figured.
Don't look for a one-size-fits-all answer to these kinds of situations, as I view them all on a case-by-case basis. Not that long ago, Michaela Mayer grabbed the bull by the horns and traveled to the UK for Natasha Jonas. And she got robbed out there. It was one of the more brazen robberies I've seen in recent memory. So if she's not in a hurry to pack her bags and travel to the UK now, that might be a part of it. You have to make it worth her while. And if you can't, it doesn't happen. I don't consider this a duck. It's not a one-size-fits-all answer to every situation. Michaela Mayer, more than once, has shown that she's willing to fight the very best that's out there, even conceding home field advantage on more than one occasion. She conceded home field advantage to Natasha Jonas. She literally just did that in her last fight with Mary Spencer. She's the bigger name. How many times is she supposed to do that? I said it in my previous video that Lauren, in some ways, needs this fight more than Michaela, because Michaela has a WBO title at welter and 3 alphabet titles at junior middle. She has options more than Lauren. A byproduct of boxers' limited budget. Now that they're on BBC, they're not getting that big Sky Sports budget anymore, to where if you can't even afford to make the women's fights,
How the fuck are you gonna make the men's?
good number of their male boxers read the writing on the wall and already left. Joshua Buatsi, Lawrence Okoli jumped ship and washed up on the shores of Queensbury.
Ben Whitaker just jumped ship and washed up on the shores of Matchroom. The very best fighters in the boxer stable are actually the women. Carolyn Dubois, Lauren Price, the best boxers in the boxer stable. But if you can't even afford to make their fights, how long before they leave? And how are you as a promotional outfit supposed to sustain? No, I don't consider this a duck from Michaela Mayer. She's the one who's been in there with the best from 130 all the way up to 154. She has a clear track record of taking on dangerous and risky fights, even if it requires her to travel. She's done that. So if she's now falling back and using a bit more temperance, You guys robbed her.
I don't consider that a duck. Or did you forget it was Boxer that promoted the Natasha Jonas fight, and Michaela got jobbed in that fight? She got screwed.
So she's supposed to be in some kind of hurry to rush back over there, do it again, for peanuts on the dollar?
Well, you pay her in scrunchies and packs of Midol? I don't think so. Alternatively, Michaela Mayer's own promoter, Top Rank, has yet to announce who their new broadcast partner is going to be going into the new year. And as far as what they have planned for the new year, they have at least one card on the schedule, the unification match between Xander Zayas and Abbas Baru in the junior middleweight division, but we've yet to receive any broadcast info about that fight. When it happens, where are we supposed to watch it?
This entire ordeal directly affects the career of Michaela Mayer and her ability to funnel opponents to her, because by now she is one of the more established names in the sport of women's boxing, but her veteran promoter is going through hard times. So is it time for Michaela to jump ship? Is it time for her to go to Matchroom? Is it time for her to go to MVP?
It might be. I always got the sense that Michaela Mayer really likes her arrangement with Top Rank. She likes the people over there, and she will not part with them easily. But if it's still rough seas in the new year, she's not young enough to keep waiting for them to sort her out.
Rough seas, all right. As fair weather never made a good captain, Todd Duboff is the president of Top Rank. Bob Arum is still the face.
But what happens now happens on Todd Duboff's watch, and we have to see what kind of captain he's going to be, as it's rough seas, all right. They've got to batten down the hatches. Men's super flyweight news, some not so encouraging news. Tony Taji, who handles the career of Andrew Moloney, said, "There will be no step-aside. Team Maloney are fully committed to the winner of Garcia versus Taraji, and as the IBF have ruled in writing, there are no exceptions, including unifications. No further delays, the winner must fight Andrew Maloney," to which veteran trainer Robert Garcia, who trains Bam Rodriguez, said, "We will not be sticking around longer waiting for that. We will be going to 118 if that's the case."
Bam.
Now, I won't begrudge Andrew Maloney his ambition to fight for the red and gold title against the winner of Taraji versus Garcia, which I think is going to be Kenshiro Taraji. But Andrew stands a better chance of winning that red and gold title if he gets his head together with the other team and plays ball. Take that step-aside money. They're just paying you to wait. It's not like you lose your world title opportunity in the process.
You're just saying that because you want to see Bam fight Taraji. You want to see Bam become undisputed.
I do, but that doesn't invalidate the point I'm making. Consider that Andrew can fight the winner of Taraji versus Garcia, who I think is going to be Kenshiro Taraji. And what if he loses to Kenshiro Taraji?
Kenshiro is good enough and decorated enough, experienced enough, that it's not a foregone conclusion Andrew wins.
And if you challenge Kenshiro for that red and gold title and you don't win, you will have passed up an opportunity, a golden opportunity, to make some step-aside money. Make some money for doing nothing but waiting.
That's the alternative.
You get the powers that be to kick out some step-aside to you for waiting. Allow the Kenshiro Taraji versus Bam Rodriguez fight to happen. I think Bam wins that fight.
Bam.
And if Bam were to win that fight, you know that he wouldn't stay at super flyweight. He would move up to 118 right after that, so that then Andrew Maloney can come in and pick up a vacant title, because he stands a better chance of winning that belt if he ain't got to go through these guys to get it.
Bam.
Being the proverbial fly in the ointment doesn't get Andrew more money than if he plays ball. A fighter of limited ability has to navigate their career differently to a Bam Rodriguez and to a Kenshiro Taraji. Andrew is in his mid-30s. He's already lost 2 fights to Joshua Franco, Bam's brother,
Dropped a split decision to Pedro Guevara and was beaten half to death by Junto Nakatani.
sounded like a shotgun went off when Junto landed that knockout blow on Andrew Maloney. So that now, being strategic might be just what the doctor ordered for Andrew. Let them fight. Let undisputed happen. Play ball, and then all you've got to do is convince the IBF that you're willing to step aside to let undisputed happen, then collect the check.
Do it.
Now, on the predication that none of this ends up happening and Bam, as a result, moves up to 118 pounds, things could get interesting up there. I think the biggest fight for Bam in the Bantamweight division would have to be a fight with newly crowned WBC champion Takuma Inoue, the younger brother of Naoya Inoue, who became WBC champion not but a few days ago against kickboxing superstar Tenshin Nasukawa.
Takuma beat him.
In effect, becoming a 2-time Bantamweight champion. I believe that before he held the WBA title, lost it, now he's got the WBC. And I think, given that Takuma is Naoya's brother for Bam, that's the biggest fight with the biggest profile. There are 2 other champions there in Antonio Vargas. He's got the WBA. Christian Medina has the WBO.
But they are not as well known as Takuma Inoue with as much money behind them. Junto Nakatani is still registered as that division's Ring Magazine champion, but we all know he's on the verge of moving up, and he will debut as a super bantamweight at the end of this year.
Junto's long gone. Time Bam moves up, Junto won't be there. The IBF title is currently registered as being vacant.
There's no IBF champion.
Bam Rodriguez has looked like a man possessed in his super flyweight run that could soon be coming to an end. Do we start to see kinks in the armor in the bantamweight division where the men will be a bit bigger? Some people are dismissive of the difference between a super flyweight and a bantamweight, saying that it's only really 3 pounds, but these are really small guys to where 3 pounds is significant. It makes a difference. The boys at 118 are bigger than the boys at Superfly.
With a bigger punch, more durability, Bam might have to work a bit harder to get these guys out of there. He's looked all but unbeatable as a super flyweight. Bantam will be his 3rd division?
Will he still look unbeatable at Bantam? Not waiting around communicates to me that Bam's body is now urging him to move up. They were going to stick around so long as they could get that last brass ring next. But if that door is now closed, Bam's body likely won't let him keep making Superfly comfortably, so they're not going to roll the dice with that and put his body through that. They're going to move up. Bam would become the biggest name at Bantamweight if and when he gets there. The only other fighter with a profile at the weight would have to be Takuma, but that does have a lot to do with his more famous brother. Not saying that Takuma isn't a good fighter, because he is, but he's not pound for pound, like Naoya is pound for pound, like Bam is pound for pound.
It's really unfortunate because I really wanted to see Bam fight for undisputed. I don't think there's ever been an undisputed super flyweight champion in the 4-belt era. I don't think one guy ever held all the belts at once. Bam!
Could have been the first.
In men's cruiserweight news, Jai Opetaia questions Gilberto Ramirez versus David Benavidez, which we already talked about in a previous video, but the story is gaining traction. The IBF Cruiserweight champion from Australia released a statement on Sunday criticizing the WBA champion Ramirez for choosing to face WBC light heavyweight belt holder Benavidez instead of himself. The announcement was made last night following Benavidez's 7th round stoppage of Anthony Yarde in Saudi. Ramirez versus Benavidez is being targeted for May 2nd, the weekend before Cinco de Mayo, with the T-Mobile Arena in Vegas as a potential venue.
We've spent a good bit of time talking about this from the Benavidez angle. We'll talk about it from the Zurdo angle here. I've been waiting for the unification fights for years, Opetaia said. I'm sick of the excuses. None of these other champions are in a hurry to face me, and we all know why.
We do. That's why I never bought that story about Zurdo Ramirez all of a sudden needing shoulder surgery immediately after the Dorticos fight. No, that just seemed like a ploy to me to put distance between Zurdo and Jai,
as they would have both been free at the same time, free to unify.
Mick Francis, whose Tasman Fighters company co-promotes Opetaia with Matchroom, feels that all roads should go through his fighter at Cruiser. He calls the Ramirez-Benavidez fight the contest to see who's the second best at Cruiser. We're witnessing a great champion being avoided in broad daylight. These so-called champions won't even say his name. Jai is the bogeyman of the Cruiserweight division, said Francis. Matthias Masternak ducked him, Richard Riakpour ducked him, Chris Billum-Smith ducked him, and Zurdo has ducked him. In the biggest, most embarrassing way of all, the 30-year-old Opetaia is coming off a 5th-round knockout of Claudio Sequeiro in June.
The injury was bullshit, folks. The whole bit about Zurdo needing immediate shoulder surgery after Dorticos was just a ploy to put distance between him and Jai.
While Zurdo pretends he doesn't know who the man is, Gilberto Ramirez confirms Benavidez' fight and dismisses Jai Opetaia,
saying he never heard of the guy.
I'm excited about this fight, and this is something I've targeted for years, Ramirez said in a press release. It will be your classic Mexican versus Mexican-American war. I'm familiar with David and his team, and have shared the gym and the ring with them in the past. They're great people, but business is business, and come May, I will have my arm raised.
I'm after the biggest fights possible, and I want to make sure I'm fighting the best, Ramirez said in response. To be honest, I didn't even know who Opetaia was until recently. Someone told me some things he said, and I think he might have rocks for brains. This guy hasn't impressed me at all. He's fought a bunch of cannon fodders to get to where he is. All these outbursts and spreading lies, saying he called my phone, reminds me of all my ex-girlfriends.
So he's doing the Johnny Foreman thing to where because Jai Opetaia ain't American, ain't Mexican, and ain't British, he's gonna pretend he don't know who the guy is.
Who's Jai?
He's the guy you sent to PSA in November of last year when you were questioned about unifying. Remember him? When you said you wanted to unify with all the champions? Jai was one among them, so that now you can pretend you never heard of him before. But you heard of Arsene Goulamarian, who's even less known.
And was inactive for a year when you fought him, so it's not like he was buzzing. But you heard of Chris Billum-Smith, who's all the way over there in the UK. You had your ear to the street for those guys, but you entered the Cruiserweight division having never heard of Jai Opetaia until recently.
Bullshit.
So bullshit, like the shoulder surgery was bullshit. I look at these situations on a case-by-case basis. Not every guy who says he's injured and needs a medical procedure actually needs one. Don't you notice that Golden Boy fighters always fall ill and need medical attention at the most opportune times?
Like Floyd Schofield and Shakur Stevenson? Like what we're hearing now about Virgil Ortiz, something to do with his hand when he's expected to fight Boots and Zurdo.
What a coinkydink that you needed a shoulder surgery at a time where you were expected to be free and able to fight Jai. It doesn't fool me. What seems even more deliberate now, because now you're pretending you had never heard of him, when there's enough of a paper trail there that you've addressed him by name, on video, in articles.
But all of a sudden you never heard of him. Fighting David Benavidez next May is not reprieve from a Jai Opetaia fight, because even in a best case scenario where Zurdo wins, who are you gonna fight after that?
Did you ever think about that? I don't know that Zurdo's going to win that fight. Being honest, I don't think that he's going to. I think David is going to beat him. But in a best-case scenario where Zurdo wins and keeps his belts, after that, what are you going to do?
Target the winner of Badu Jack versus Noel Michaelian. Whoever it is.
He might, but fighting the winner of that fight won't pay you what fighting Jai Opetaia will pay you. So let's not pretend that there's no money behind him, or no money for the fight. By my count, Jai Opetaia has made at least 3 Riyadh season appearances. Even if you don't know who he is, Turkey does.
And that's what matters.
Further confirmation of what I already thought in reference to Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy's plans for the coming calendar year. They want to stay local. They want to focus on this market, even though boxing has gone global.
The international stage pays out better than just fighting in America.
And I'm pretty sure that fighting Jai Opetaia for a big lump sum in Saudi pays better than gambling on the unstable pay-per-view market here in the United States, where customers have grown tired being inundated with pay-per-view after pay-per-view after pay-per-view. You're only gonna make so much money at the box office. It ain't what it used to be.
It ain't, but it's safer than fighting Jai, so they'll wrestle with that.
It's only a momentary reprieve. If David wins, if Zurdo wins, it doesn't matter, because Jai doesn't appear to be going anywhere. I thought he might outgrow this weight, but based on his recent comments, he said he makes the weight just fine, and he's not leaving.
The more you two guys try to ignore him, in all likelihood, the more vocal he's going to become.
I don't have any confirmation yet, and nobody has said it, but what if Jai Opetaia happens to be ringside for Ramirez versus Benavidez? How much do you think it costs Matchroom to foot the bill for the ticket so he can be there and put you two guys under pressure? If Eddie Hearn hasn't already planned that...
Boots was ringside for Virgil's last fight. Jai Opetaia can be ringside for Zurdo's next fight.
Since Zurdo now claims he doesn't know who he is and he only came up recently, this will be Jai Opetaia's opportunity to introduce himself to either Zurdo or David, whoever wins that fight. And you would have thought that a fight like this would have been easier to make because both respective promoters are on the same platform, but this is a testament to what I've been telling you all along. The platform stuff and the promotion stuff that you've seen in America was only a smokescreen. That was really never the issue.
The issue always was scared managers and scared fighters who don't want to fight the best.